Hello and welcome to the Sarofim School of Fine Arts. At this time, we ask that you please silence all electronic devices and do not access them during this event. Please do not record or take photographs. If you should need to leave the theater during this event, you may exit quietly up the aisles and into the lobby. In case of an emergency, please follow the exit signs. Thank you for coming and enjoy the show.
Testing, fantastic. Good evening, everyone, friends, families, foes, mentors, peers, and queers alike. Thank you all so much for coming to my capstone to see the pieces that I have written and put my heart and soul into. This entire process of curating topics and writing the music has been such a journey and a learning experience that has taken many different shapes and forms throughout the development of these works. Tonight, there will be a few different types of pieces, most of them vocal-based, with a few other really fun theatrical elements. And we are starting with the percussion instruments that were definitely a challenge to write for, but so fun to learn. And with each piece tonight, I will be giving a small lecture about how each of these pieces came to be, as well as the context of their subjects. I found that when I was writing, I was picking poems, themes, and topics that were really personal to me, but were also slightly related to topics outside of the School of Music. Hashtag Be Southwestern, Paideia, and whatnot. And it was really only with the help of my peers' performances and my professors' support that tonight is even possible, but I'll save most of the gratitude for the end. Tonight, there will be a lot of loud noise. At the very end, there may be a little bit of flashing light, and music that is not necessarily the most classical sounding, but I wanted to explore these sounds and boundaries of music to emphasize the themes and messages that I wanted to make tonight. There will also be, with these moments of peace, lightness, and traditional beauty of sound for those same reasons. The duality of those feelings is what makes an experience feel personal. So feel outraged, tranquil, existential, and joyful as this music is being performed. I am really proud of the work that will be performed tonight and the labor that went into them. So with that, I will now be introducing the first piece, Liberation. As a young queer person in America, specifically Texas, I have taken it upon myself to educate and celebrate the histories and studies of queer culture in the US and how that affects me today. My piece, Liberation, is a 3-movement vibraphone duet with a snare feature and incorporates both live and tape music in its performances. The tape you will be hearing today over the first third of the first movement will feature Morse code, simply stating the riot slogan, "Trans Liberation Now." And a beat derived from that code will then blend into the beat of the music. There is a constant meter change representing the fight for stability and grounding that began in the 60s and only ends with strong and certain death from our trans ancestors and their hopes for a better future. With the aforementioned Morse beat, you will also hear a snippet of Sylvia Rivera's "Y'all Better Quiet Down" speech from the 1973 Gay Pride Rally in New York City. Sylvia Rivera was a trans femme Puerto Rican gay rights activist who, with the help of her friends and other trans women of color activists, such as Marsha P. Johnson, they founded the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or STAR House. This house, and then later foundation, functioned as a halfway house and a social safe space for queer New Yorkers and sex workers that would regularly get raided and moved by police. It was their work and others like them nationwide's work struggle, and sacrifice that led to the victories and rights that queer Americans legally have today. Every freedom and piece of protective legislation that was demanded to be put in place is only there thanks to their power, grace, and dedication. It is these trans women of color who put their life and dignity on the line for a future most would not be able to be a part of. Now, in 2023, less than 10 years after the Supreme Court decision of Obergefell v. Hodges, which nationally legalized gay marriage for all states in the US, our rights are in jeopardy again, and we are no longer entering but deep into the stages of a trans genocide. In Movement 2, all that you will hear is the snare drums and proclamations of trans individuals, including myself, about the present state of the fight for liberation. With every strike of the drum, it will represent a trans life lost in an act of hateful violence since 2020 in 5 cycles separated by 10 proclamations and having the most up-to-date statistics. Having to keep track of these atrocities and see these numbers go up has been terrifying and heartbreaking, but keeping track is extremely necessary. There is nothing pretty, nothing poetic, and nothing just about any of this. But it is the reality and a pattern I hope will break soon. So now it is our turn to take the mic and turn up our young voices in outrage and protest of the hatred that is being spread. Even if you do not think it matters to you that you are not a part of this repressed group, it will someday affect you. They're gonna get you if they haven't yet. I do, however, know this. Anyone who stands against love will not stand for long, and there is hope for a better future. Movement 3 encapsulates the victory and euphoria of a better tomorrow. We will not forget our past, and we will work and be aware of the present, but we will celebrate in the future. You will hear in the tape for this movement a drone of strings keeping the spark alive as we free ourselves from the trials of yesterday. You will hear the struggle of the past turn into a dance, because as we triumph, the butterfly effect of the waves of justice before us will always be there in moments of joy. Joy is one of the most effective forms of protest. Finding joy in the bodies they wish to burn and showing the world our pride. This, however, is only achievable if we do the hard emotional and legal work, that we plant the trees that we will never get to lay under. There will still be hate, there will still be discrimination, and there will still be evil, but this despair will putter out under the constant pressure of joy. Sylvia Rivera died 13 years before she could see the garden of her labors bloom. And now we must fight to protect her and all of our LGBTQ+ ancestors' beautiful, hard work. This piece is my art and my voice contributing to educating myself and others about this history and preservation of this liberation. It is time to show the world what we are willing to do. Please let your voices be heard and enjoy.
59 in 2021, and 37 in 2022. A majority of those lives taken were trans women of color. We've been around and we're tired of getting pushed around. We're tired of running and we intend to fight for our rights. Right-wing extremist lawmakers passed discriminatory bills targeting bans on life-saving, medically necessary, gender-affirming healthcare, our place in classrooms, our performance arts, our rights to use the bathroom, the right to play sports, the right to change our names. Governor Greg Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick are pushing 141 of these bills in Texas. Do not turn a blind eye to the genocide unfolding around you. Are you on the right side of history? So far in 2023. No pride for some without liberation for all of us.
All right. Hello, hello. All right. While this transition happens, I will start a little bit onto the next small lecture on the next piece. So now I am going to be stepping off of the soapbox and into a place of good feelings. And I actually do want to dedicate this next piece to my family and the home that they have built for me, because without it, this piece would literally not exist. So There are a few vocabulary words that I want to share with y'all today, those being sonder and ekphrasis. Ekphrasis, my apologies. Sonder is the profound feeling of realizing that everyone, including strangers passing in the street, have a complex life as complex as one's own. And they are consistently living this life despite one's personal lack of awareness of it. Ekphrasis is the verbal or written description of visual objects in poetic detail. For me, the road home to SU is mostly back roads and highways, and I have stopped using my GPS for guidance a long time ago. In its place, I now have these different topographical landmarks that have been engraved into my cognitive map and that have become very personal to me. They keep me occupied on the trek homeward. One of these landmarks is a little sign on the side of the road on the far outskirts of any town and right outside of a ranch house that simply states, "Wendy, turn here." Y'all might have seen it on the poster. It's that one. So home has always been moved around for me. I grew up house to house, school to school, and really relied on my family unit to create a home. And finding home is not always the easiest for everyone because sometimes you grow up in a place that is not of love. That is not the case for me, and I sincerely hope that that is not the case for my mysterious muse. The lyrics of this piece, along with the music, are all my own, and I wanted to convey this relief and serenity of making it home after the winds and uncertainties of the journey there. And there is instability in the piano and the voice until the chorus of affirmation, "I find my way home through you." I have never met Wendy and probably never will, but that does not mean that she can stop me from imagining a love story between her and the writer of the sign, because she, much like me, just wants to go home. Ancient Greek and Roman poets like Sappho often used waypoints and landmarks in their works of poetry, and I am carrying on this tradition of lyricism by musing about others' lives in my commute. I plan on creating more art songs about these different topographical landmarks and folk art and turning them into a song cycle one day titled "The Journey Home, a Texas Odyssey." Working title. But until then, here is Wendy, Turn Here. Hello, hello. This next piece is inspired by the short story There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury and the featured poem of the same name by Sarah Teasdale. In the mid-20th century, there was a rise in this idea of an apocalyptic end of the world with all of the nuclear threats and world wars that completely changed the aesthetics of science fiction in film. In summary, for those who have not read it, the narrator follows this smart house in the far future of a post-apocalyptic family that has just died in a nuclear explosion. The house completely survived, but is also unaware that its family has died and continues to go about its duties until it, too, inevitably catches fire and dies. The function of the sci-fi genre is to take the unknown and mix it with the familiar, which you can then throw your own aesthetics onto to create art. The main theme of both the short story and the poem is the idea of humans going too far and creating an Armageddon through war that will ultimately return them and all of their creations back to dust and to nature. The death of man leading into the death of technology. It's this idea of the relationship between the organic and the mechanic that I wanted to explore in my duet, There Will Come Soft Rains. For this piece, I will be playing the role of the organic and singing the Teasdale poem in art song form, while my collaborative pianist plays the smart house and speaks excerpts from the dialogue of the Bradbury. As the song progresses, the piano and the house will slowly succumb to the flames and madness of loneliness. So warning, he will be yelling fire. There is not a real fire. And y'all know where the exits are. On a real note, though, the topic of aesthetics of technology in art is also still really prevalent in the modern day, as much as it was in the 50s. Towards the beginning of writing this project, I actually wanted to see if I could get AI to help me write some of the music so that I could talk about the controversies of AI and art. And I decided against it. Just for personal reasons, because in my mind, it wouldn't really be my work, it would be a collaboration piece, and that's not what this recital is. This did get me thinking, however, about one of the first things that we learn in my sci-fi film class. At what point did we take technology too far? At what point does the software that I use to notate and create my music not become just me anymore? A collaborator. It's interesting to think about the different futures that have been imagined as the years go by, and even now, under still the threat of nuclear violence prevails and looms. At least, just as Teasdale and Bradbury did, we'll just make art about it. Here is There Will Come Soft Rains.
Mrs. McClellan, which poem would you like this evening? Since you express no preference, I shall select a poem at random.
There will come soft rain.
August 5th, 2026. Today is August 5th, Today is August 5th. Today is August. Today is...
All right. Caro Mio Ben was written in 1783 by Giuseppe/Tommaso Giordani, drama. And 240 years later, everyone is sick of it. This Italian art song has been a staple in vocal pedagogy, This Italian art song has been a staple in the vocal pedagogy handbook for many years. And for a lot of young singers, it is one of the first art songs in a different language that you learn. Italian is one of the best languages to start you off on your education in learning vocal technique, vowel placement, diction, and the process of translation and understanding poetry for musicality. This being said, however, for those of us who have been listening to and or teaching this song for so many years, you feel like if you are going to listen to it one more time, you will go insane. So I came to the conclusion that I will just rewrite it. So taking something that has been written over 100 years ago and making it contemporary is not at all unheard of in the composition world and actually falls under the realm of neoclassicism. The idea of taking forms, harmonic structures, and other classical era techniques and then putting a modern twist on them is all part of this game. So I took the poetry and set it to a much more dramatic piano, added a violin that is the mirror image of the operatic soprano vocal line that will also include some extended technique from this performer. The actual poetry of Caro Mio Ben is pretty heart-wrenching. It is this narrative proclamation of love to someone even though they are cruel to you. And in my opinion, the original music does not mask this energy at all. There are very few of these feelings of frustration and passion in the Giordani piece. So I wanted to add an element of this by including slides, trills, and screams to capture all of these emotions. It is not an entirely brand new piece of music, however, as there are still many nods compositionally to the original song in mine, some more subtle than others. And in the end, however, one version is not necessarily better or worse than the other, as both serve different purposes and were written at different times by different people. For a while, the name of this piece was actually A Better Caro Mio Ben, but I ended up changing it to showcase more the passage of time and the evolution of art song. So in my opinion, mine is better. And so now, here is the newest rendition of the all-time classic, Caro Mio Ben, 240 years later. So before getting into the final piece this evening, I just wanted to take this opportunity to now do those gratitudes to everyone who deserves them, because I could not have done any of it on my own. I, of course, want to start by thanking my family for supporting me in literally every way possible and for granting me the opportunity to get a degree in the thing I am so passionate about. Thank you so, so much, and I love y'all to the moon and back. Also, a big thank you to all of the professors who have gotten me through this college experience, both within and beyond Sarofim, but of course, especially to my compositional mentor and capstone advisor, Dr. Hoogerhide. He has pushed me and supported me through all of my stages of writing and progressing as a young composer and has never given up on me. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom and patience and discussions about weird and interesting theory topics. I also, of course, want to thank all of my performers tonight who have worked so hard on this music and really did take a chance on me and my vision for this recital, because Lord knows I would not be able to do or play so much of this music by myself, even if I really wanted to. Your collaboration and trust in me are so unbelievably valuable, and a special shout out to Professor Utterback, who has been featured a few times this evening and this weekend, last weekend, the weekend before that, as he has been with me as my collaborative pianist for 4 years and has never disappointed. Thank you so much. And finally, thank you so much for everyone who is here tonight, both physically and virtually. Your being here is what makes putting all of this work on a stage worth it, and I cannot thank y'all enough for being one of my first audiences for my original compositions, as my journey both begins and ends here. I was first inspired to become a composer when I first watched my first Pixar short film compilation in high school. I had always enjoyed film soundtracks, but there was something about a dialogueless movie that just let animators and musicians do all of the talking that gave me my first legitimate, I want to do that when I grow up. While I don't know if film scoring will be my exact path and/or career goal of my writing, I would still love to collaborate more with visual artists and make the things that made us want to become artists in the first place. One of the reasons that I love animation specifically as a visual medium is because it is the best vehicle for utilizing this really fun compositional technique called Mickey Mousing. As the term implies and is originated from, Mickey Mousing is a writing technique in which you use music as sound effects, much like a Foley artist, that line up exactly with and mirror the actions that are happening on screen, such as physical exaggerated movement or emotional tone indication. For the film that will be screened tonight, there will be both a mix of Mickey Mousing and an actual soundtrack in the score as we follow the story of a totally different mouse. So Wings is a short film that was made in 2019 by animator Cassie McDonald for her own senior thesis. The story portrays a mouse protagonist who wishes that she could fly like the birds she sees and whose feathers she collects. Then one day, she rescues and befriends a robin who has been injured and needs to heal before she can fly again. Together, we will watch their friendship grow and take flight as they learn kindness and understanding on this healing journey. I wanted to keep the instrumentation simple for this work, as I feel like the story doesn't really need a whole orchestra overwhelming the really pure and simple animation style. It was also just really fun exploring the different ways a piano could communicate the motions and emotions of animation all on its own, which already fit the vision that I had for the film when I watch it on mute. Because fun fact, since actually finding the film, I have never watched it with the volume on. So I have zero clue what the original score by Colin Andrew Grant sounds like, because I did not want it to have any influence on my writing. But somewhere in the near future, I'll probably watch it with the volume up just to compare and contrast, and y'all should too. You can find the full film on YouTube by the same creator and animator, and she is also on Instagram at @gothfrog. Someone had to take it, and unfortunately not me. So give her a like, follow, and subscribe to support these animators and visual artists as much as you support the other arts. But now, without further delay, I want to present to you the final piece of the evening, Wings. much for being here, and go on about your Sunday night.